Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a requested one and kind of a unique one. It's about modern aldehydes. So fragrances that smell aldehydic but also very contemporary, very wearable today. Aldehydes are a note that smell kind of like soap. It's an artificial note obviously, and on Fragrantica, it's represented with like that little sky symbol and almost like a little sparkling sun. And that's the effect that it gives, is this very kind of effervescent, crisp, clean, soapy effect. But a lot of fragrances that use it are kind of old school, and you'll get this old school type of soapy smell that a lot of people nowadays are kind of over. But we have some modern aldehydes, so fragrances that have this note kind of tweaked and made to be a little bit more unique, contemporary, and not something that you're used to. So if that sounds interesting to you, then keep on watching. If you're new here, my name is Yana, this is The Scented. We talk about fragrances. If that's a passion of yours, hit that big red button, hit the little bell, stay tuned for any new videos coming up, and here we go. The very first one is actually an older fragrance, but I love this one and wear it a ton. Don't be put off by the not so modern packaging. This is a really long-lasting, clean fragrance with a major transition. So you get those aldehydes and they smell like laundry. They smell a little bit sweet, very, very warm. It's almost, it does have a little bit of a laundry-esque quality, and this fragrance came out in the 90s, but I find it very, very wearable today. It's probably my favorite from D&G. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is my favorite from D&G. It has a nice warm note of marigold, carnation, coriander, very unique, not a typical soapy scent like what you're used to from, you know, those older fragrances. And the aldehydes in here, they do smell laundry-esque, but warm and sweet, like the best sweet laundry detergent that you can think of. And laundry drying out on lines in the sunshine, like this is kind of what it smells like. And then when it dries down, it transitions to a very warm, sensual, like ambery fragrance. The opening and the base are very, very different. So I love this fragrance for the transition and the journey that it takes me on. And these aldehydes do not smell old school. They actually do smell very contemporary and wearable today. And I feel like this fragrance is super underrated. So don't dismiss the red cap. It's actually really, really good. If you guys do want to try any of these, by the way, they are available on my merch and decant shop. I'm not sure if you guys know, but I've launched a website and I've had it since about November. And basically channel merch and decant. So hundreds and hundreds of fragrances, and anything that you want to try is probably on there for men and women. So check it out. There's free shipping in Canada and US. Next up, we have Juliette Has A Gun, Citizen Queen. This one kind of smells like a boudoir. This one smells more classic. It borrows from that classic fragrance scent profile. It does smell very kind of makeup-y. There's a little bit of a leather note in here, but also smells very empowering. And it has this fuzziness, this sort of crisp, texture that an aldehyde can provide. It's a fizzly type of scent. That's probably the best way I can put it. There's a fizzle in here. It's very interesting juxtaposed with the leather, because the leather, it is a little bit of a sharper leather, but then you get these sort of soap bubbles, you get iris, you get powdery notes. So it smells to me like makeup, like doing your makeup for a show, like in a changing room, or well, I guess a boudoir. Like it's very sexy. It's a very sexy smell. I imagine ladies in the Moulin Rouge getting ready to do their can, and this is what it smells like. Makeup, feathers, that powdery smell, leather chairs, dim lighting, and it's very unusual. And also probably showers in the back that have a little bit of a soapy smell, which is the soapiness that you get. Really unusual, really cool fragrance. Not for everyone, but it is a very unique release from Juliette Has A Gun. That house is hit and miss for me. This was actually pretty unusual, and I think they did a good job on this one. Next is Stairway to Heaven. This one is really, really unique. This one, I keep telling you guys, this smells like a winter. It smells like snow, and it has a note of gunpowder, which is really unique. It's a little bit of almost like a metallic-y facet, really unusual. This is an ode to the Himalayas. So the whole concept behind this fragrance is Himalayan mountains, the air, and it really does come across. It smells like clean, fresh snow, not packed snow, but the fluffy kind, like almost bubbly. This is what it smells like. And it has vanilla, it has heliotrope, so you get a little bit of powderiness and sweetness. Very, very lovely fragrance. I think this is unisex, but slightly leaning feminine. I think you guys definitely need to check this one out if you love Tom Ford's Metallique. This one I find better, more unique, but very similar aldehydes, which is a segue into Tom Ford's Metallique. I only have a sample of Metallique because after getting the Stairway to Heaven, I didn't find a point in owning Metallique because they are quite similar, but I find Stairway to Heaven better. But Tom Ford is more easily attainable. I think it's kind of everywhere. This one also has vanilla, also has heliotrope and aldehydes, and the aldehydes are very, very similar in here. This one is less sweet than the Stairway to Heaven, so I do find the Stairway to Heaven more feminine leaning. This one is less sweet, almost a little bit more tangy, and you don't get the feeling of snow the way that you do with Stairway to Heaven. It's different. Like, they are very similar. The aldehydes are very similar. That fluffiness is there as well, but this one's a little bit more tangy, a little bit more masculine leaning, still very beautiful, and I do really like this one. I was gonna get a full bottle until I tried Stairway to Heaven, and then I didn't really feel a need for it. But for guys, I think I would recommend the Metallique. Next up is Ray-flection from Masque Milano. This one is extremely unique. It has mandarin, it has cardamom, mimosa. You can really smell that like yellow floral mimosa in here. It's honeyed, and there's beeswax. The beeswax really smells like honey that you get, that natural honey in the honeycombs. You really get that smell in here. And then the cleanliness of aldehydes. A really, really unique fragrance. In some ways, it almost smells herbal, the way that the aldehydes combine with those honeyed yellow floral notes. And you still get a nice clean muskiness in here, a little bit of cedar. Really, really interesting fragrance. Very unusual, like very, very modern. Nothing like you would have ever smelled before. This one really brings something new to the table. This one is really, really unique. If I had to say, it is unisex, but I would say it is a touch masculine leaning. Like, I'm just thinking, would I prefer to smell this on a female friend or a male friend? And I think I would prefer to smell this on a male friend. That's how I gauge it. Then we have a fun one. This is called Bubble Bath from Maison Margiela. I do really like this one. It's fun. It really smells like a bubble bath. It does have this bubbliness, this bubbly quality. I get a lot of coconut in here, a little bit of lavender, so kind of like a lavender soap. Definitely soapy. Soapy soap bubbles, like really fluffy soap bubbles in a bath. If you put soap, like liquid soap, in your bath and it creates those bubbles, you do get that effect. Coconutty, milky, soft, very pleasant, very clean. I do totally get the reference to bubble bath. It does transport you to a bubble bath, to a nice evening, cozy, warm bubble bath, and then you come out and your skin is very, very soft. You've used some, I don't know, some little bath milk and made it super bougie. This is what it smells like a nice fancy bubble bath. Really, really modern. This one doesn't borrow anything from older aldehydes. This is this whole new thing all on its own. It gives you this soapy, clean vibe, but a completely different one. And since I've already started saying whether something's feminine or masculine, I'm gonna say this one I find more feminine leaning. This one is super girly, like a little soapy, clean ballerina cartoon. It has a really nice blackcurrant note along with soap and rose. There's elemi resin as well. There's a lot of complex notes in here. The way that I've described this before, and I'm gonna stick to it, is like if juicy fruit gum was rose flavored, it would be this. But also soap. So if you can imagine juicy fruit gum and a soapy rose, it's this, but the soapy rose is sweet. It's not what you would associate typically with a rose soap. This one's very different. It's a sweet, almost like a rose candy, a very gentle, fluffy candy, almost like an airy candy, a cotton candy with rose. I'm kind of spitballing here, but I'm smelling it and that's the imagery that comes to mind. The airiness of that rose is like that of if you, let's say you took rose flavored sweet hard candies and then made them into cotton candy. Kind of like that rose. In the opening, it's more tart and I get a lot more black currant and a lot more of that LME resin, which kind of almost smells piney. But then it does transition into bar soap, really like straight up bar soap with rose, and it's sweet and it's really pleasant, soft, girly. I really like this one. It smells super clean, flirty, playful, and just adorable. Another one from Maison Margiela. This is Lazy Sunday Morning. This one smells like clean bed linens. It smells like laundry. It's musky. It's a soft rose, a soft, delicate rose. And it's very, very light. Like I do find this one quite light, powdery, pleasant, not very sweet. It's not very sweet at all. It is a very chilled, like laid back fragrance. Very casual, easy wearing, really does smell like clean bed linens. I personally don't reach for this one very much. I think personally I do prefer bubble bath, but this one is nice. It's unisex. It's just, I think I would like it to be a little bit sweeter, where it's a little bit more powdery, and it is definitely a modern aldehyde and it's quite nice, but I just don't find myself personally reaching for this one too much. And finally, we have North Bondi from Ouai. This doesn't really contain a note of aldehydes, but it may as well because it really smells like it has aldehydes in there. And I bought this after I had the leave-in conditioner, which smelled like this, and it smelled very clean, very elegant and powdery and like soapy. This has apple blossom, it has violet. It smells really lovely, not too sweet. Like it has a certain elegance about it. It's a simplistic elegance and very clean, very kind of soap-like hair product. Well, of course, because they're a hair product brand initially, and it carries through their fragrances. And this one really smells like it could be a modern aldehyde. So I'm putting it in this list, even though technically it doesn't contain a note of aldehydes. It is very clean, borderline soapy and modern smelling, and I think that it belongs in this list. And I really, really like this one. I reach for it a lot myself. This one I do find obviously a little bit more feminine leaning. Again, if you guys do want to try any of these, they're available on thescented.ca. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know some modern aldehydic fragrances that you could recommend, and I'll definitely check them out. I do really like aldehydic fragrances, soapy scents, clean scents, so I'm happy to discover more. And that's it for today. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!